What's up everybody, my name is Carl, and during my early days of YouTube I made a few horror related videos. I do like horror, I love watching horror films, I like listening to horror stories on YouTube and watching those top countdowns of paranormal sightings caught on camera, and I even kind of find the Creepypasta community really interesting. So back in the day I made a video on horror film stereotypes. I spoke about if the Slender Man was real or fake. I even spoke about the Rake and how to play the Midnight Man game from the Creepypasta community. I even tried to explain about what the Slender Man ARG YouTube series were about, which were made by some very talented creators, which got some really mixed feedback. So today I thought I would go back to those times because I really enjoy that sort of stuff, and today I thought I'd talk to you about who Jeff the Killer is. Jeff the Killer is one of the most notorious fictional creepypasta characters out there, hitting Google Trends back in 2014 prior to the big success of Slender Man. He is depicted as a pale, almost noseless teenager with long black hair, almost burnt out eyelids, and a Joker-esque grin carved into his face. His catchphrase before he kills people, which is famously known by the creepypasta community, is "go to sleep." Essentially, Jeff is a teenager who loses his sanity and becomes a serial killer to satisfy his homicidal urges. So where did the original image of Jeff the Killer come from? Yeah, sorry for showing you that photo again, but basically this image was allegedly a heavily edited photo of a girl called Katie Robinson. Katie had uploaded this photo to an image board on 4chan back in early 2008. Later on, Katie's sibling had reposted that photo of Katie and had announced to the 4chan community that Katie had sadly committed suicide. This was due to the fact that people on 4chan basically bullied Katie about her appearance and weight. Now, to this day, this is a very popular origin story and popular origin of the image of Jeff the Killer. However, some still claim that this image is still uncredited and it's unclear as they regard it as an internet myth. But it's up to you guys to decide if this is the original image of Jeff the Killer, the most authentic one. Another more gruesome tale involves Jeff getting burned alive and then later on cutting his eyelids out and then carving a grin into his face before gruesomely killing his whole family. Now this was just a basic overview of that tale, but it's definitely worth reading. Therefore, the links are in the description below so you guys can have a read. It is really dark. When I made my Slender Man video, I told one of his tales, and it's only fitting that I do one for Jeff's. Of course, there are so many of Jeff the Killer's stories all over the internet, and if you guys know of any of them, I'd like you to comment them down below. Preferably the scariest ones you can think of. So I need my glasses to read this story to you guys. Otherwise, I can't see anything because I'm actually really blind. Excerpt from a local newspaper. Ominous unknown killer is still at large. After weeks of unexplained murders, the ominous unknown killer is still on the rise. After little evidence has been found, a young boy states that he survived one of the killer's attacks and bravely tells his story. "I had a bad dream and I woke up in the middle of the night," says the boy. "I saw that for some reason the window was open, even though I remember it being closed before I went to bed. I got up and I shut it once more. Afterwards, I simply crawled under my covers and tried to get back to sleep. That's when I had a strange feeling, like someone was watching me. I looked up and nearly jumped out of my bed. There, in the little ray of light, illuminating from between my curtains, were a pair of two eyes. They weren't regular eyes. They were dark, ominous eyes. They were bordered in black and just plain out terrified me. That's when I saw his mouth, a long, horrendous smile that made every hair on my body stand up. The figure stood there, watching me. Finally, after what seemed like forever, he said it. A simple phrase, but said in a way only a madman could speak. He said, "Go to sleep." I let out a scream. That's what sent him at me. He pulled up a knife, aiming at my heart. He jumped on top of my bed. I fought him back. I kicked, I punched, I rolled around trying to knock him off me. That's when my dad busted in. The man threw the knife. It went into my dad's shoulder. The man probably would have finished him off if one of the neighbours hadn't alerted the police. They drove into the parking lot and ran towards the door. The man turned and ran down the hallway. I heard a smash like glass breaking. As I came out of my room, I saw the window that was pointing towards the back of my house was broken. I looked out it to see him vanish into the distance. I can tell you one thing. I will never forget that face. Those cold, evil eyes and that psychotic smile. They will never leave my head. Police are still on the look for this man. If you see anyone that fits the description in this story, please contact your local police department. So that was my take on who Jeff the Killer is, a notorious creepypasta character that is destined to freak people out and give them nightmares. So comment down below if you have any more information regarding Jeff the Killer and any more scary stories on him. Like and subscribe, and remember, go to sleep. Bye.